educational credential evaluators. We are located in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, which is 1 hour north of Chicago. I'm extremely pleased and honored to be part of today's session on Ukrainian credentials. I hope I will share our knowledge, expertise, and experience on how to evaluate foreign credentials, especially Ukrainian credentials. And in this part, I will try to cover a lot of updates. So my credentials will be new, most likely new. So we know that there are a lot of updates in Ukraine since 2013, and the political and socioeconomic situation has affected the educational system. So we see a huge increase in Ukrainian students in the American universities, and also European universities also see a lot of students from Ukraine. So briefly about us, this is the website. You're most welcome to visit our website, https://www.ecu.org. We have an extremely interesting website containing information about the services we provide. We provide evaluation reports. So we do course-by-course reports, general reports with GPA, subject analysis, and so on and so forth. We also do customized training for evaluation professionals, for school representatives. We provide thematic webinars on evaluation and systems of education, contribute our knowledge. If you ever visit our website, just out of curiosity, please go to the Connection Network. This is a free connection network, and lots of people from all over the world practically live there. If you have any questions about the documents, if you have some tricky situation with the grading scale, even translation issues, we will respond to your questions. Okay, so here you can see the map. That's where we are. We are located right on the Lake Michigan. Very nice lake, but cold. Since we're talking about Ukraine today, I would like to share that. Can you see it quite well? So we provide evaluation reports for Ukrainian students, and you can see that. So here I posted for you the secondary section and the post-secondary university section of credentials. Most likely, well, not most likely, but typically we request original documents. But if your diplomas or secondary credentials can be verified online in InfoResource, which I will show to you later, we can accept the photocopy of the diploma, but the original diploma supplement. Briefly, very, very briefly about the educational system of Ukraine, why I posted it in terms of the credentials. When we work with the credentials from Ukraine, we have to know if the credentials belong to the secondary and vocational education sector or to tertiary education. So if the credential is, for instance, qualified worker certificate, qualified worker diploma, or certificate of basic education, or certificate of complete secondary education, this will definitely be secondary or vocational education, not tertiary, not higher education. The new system of education based on the legislation of Ukraine as of 2014 stipulates for the new credentials. So you see junior bachelor, bachelor, master, professional diplomas, doctor of philosophy, doctor of arts, doctor of science, and the research degree. So the rule of thumb is to know if your credentials are secondary or vocational, most likely they will correspond to the secondary or vocational education. In the US, if your credentials are of tertiary level, definitely this is undergraduate and graduate studies. Secondary education, very, very briefly. Here we'll look at two basic credentials. The red box. Wait, I'm sorry, went back. Basic general secondary education represents grades 5 through 9, and the main document that people receive on completion of grade 9 is the Certificate of Basic General Secondary Education. This credential gives access to vocational education in Ukraine or to upper secondary section of secondary education, grades 10 and 11, and then people can continue to tertiary education. So this is the first certificate, the first credential. The second credential, which confirms completion of grades 10 and 11, it's called Certificate of Complete General Secondary Education. Currently in Ukraine, the upper sector of secondary education deals with grades 10 and 11. However, there will be a change, an implementation of the 12-year system in 2018. So this is something we have to be aware of. This is how the document, the very first basic document looks like. It's green. It's the Certificate of Basic General Secondary Education. We look at all these important details such as the coat of arms of Ukraine. If you do not see the coat of arms of Ukraine on any official document, this is a questionable document. Basically, the coat of arms represents or states that this is the document of the state-issued format. This is the plastic document. If you flip it over, you can see all the information, the person's name, what school he graduated from, the geographical location, the director's signature, the seal of the school, the date, and also this is very important info, so it's verifiable. I'll show you how to verify these documents. Sometimes we receive this document and people think that this is completion of high school diploma in the US. No, this is grade 9 only. So the Certificate of Basic Education comes with the supplement. So this is how the supplement looks like. If you receive the supplement without the certificate, this document will be incomplete. So there is a wording: without the certificate, this document is not valid. It duplicates the same information that you can see on the certificate, so the name of the school, when the person graduated, but we also see more information in terms of coursework in Ukrainian, the grading scale, the grades based on the 12-point grading scale, coursework, and final exams. The main important new thing that we see as of recently, this is the GPA, the general grade point average. So, am I speaking too fast? No, no response. Well, the second document is Certificate of Complete Secondary Education. So please note that it's not green, it's blue. So it looks completely different in terms of the color. The terminology is also different. So you see the same, the coat of arms, you see the wording, Certificate of Complete General Secondary Education. The format is basically the same, the name, the school, when the person graduated, the director's signature, the serial numbers, info source verifiable, and the graduation date and the seal. So sometimes the school's name may not match. Here does not match the seal, so you'll have questions. You'll have to get in touch with the school. Again, the diploma supplement or the certificate supplement looks in terms of format the same. So we see the coursework, we see the grades, we see the final examinations. So that's absolutely the same. By the way, this document is equivalent to a high school diploma in the US. When we evaluate credentials from Ukraine, we definitely have to work with the grading scales. So this is how we look at the grading scales for secondary credentials. So a 12-point grading scale, 10 through 12 stands for excellent, or the US grade A, 7 through 9 is good, 4 through 6 it's satisfactory, and it's an interesting grade 1 through 3. Somebody, or you might think this is a failure. No, we got in touch with the school and they actually confirmed to us that even if the person receives grade 1, he is still eligible to graduate and receive the Certificate of Complete Secondary Education. Sometimes we see this grade, which is pass, as grade or pass grade. Please note the difference. The S is not the same as C. So we usually receive complaints and concerns or questions from people who think that S is a C. No, S stands for the grade that is taken on a pass-fail basis. It has no value for the grade point average, whereas C has definitely value. Not a very good value, but still it has the value. So C affects the GPA, S does not affect the GPA. Very interesting information in terms of the switching of Ukrainian secondary education to grade 12. So if you look at this chart, you will see that people will be enrolled in 2018 into grade 1. Then there will be basic secondary education launched, 2022, 2027 professional-oriented schools, and 2029, maybe we will see the first graduates after grade 12. So there will be tracks, the same tracks as we see in, for instance, German credentials, academic track and professional track. So people will be able to decide whether they would like to go to universities on the basis of the academic track completed or professional track. Vocational education. Okay, so this section will cover very briefly the vocational education. The vocational sector of education in Ukraine is extremely complicated. Given the fact that it's undergoing the process of reformation, it's even more complicated. However, we still see the same documents as before, as during the Soviet times. And there will be a new document implemented, which is the junior bachelor, yes, but we haven't seen it yet. So the first credential of the vocational education is called Qualified Worker Certificate. This document, people usually study for 1 year, and then they go into employment. They cannot go into tertiary education on the basis, they cannot go into the universities or institutes on the basis of only this credential. They'll have to take exams and most likely receive complete secondary education. Second basic level of professional vocational education is Qualified Worker Diploma. Then the third level, it's Qualified Worker Diploma and Junior Specialist. They're listed here together. However, these are two different documents, and I'll show you the website of the school where students actually can get into all of these programs. Level 5, there's not much information about it, but again, as I mentioned, there is a transitional time in Ukraine right now for the vocational education. So in Ukraine, they're moving from junior specialist into junior bachelor. Again, we haven't seen the junior bachelor, but this will be the same as the junior specialist. I don't know if you're aware of this, but junior specialist in Ukraine is the first initial stage of higher education. And we also consider credentials, junior specialist credential equivalent to undergraduate studies based on the admission and the duration of the program. And I'll show those credentials as well. The last year for admission to the junior specialist will be 2019. And nice thing about vocational education in Ukraine is that Ukraine is moving towards the dual system of education, which is very, very specific for Germany, for instance. So that was nice to see and hear. This is how the Qualified Worker Certificate looks like. Again, you see the coat of arms, you see the wording, certificate of upgrading of working qualification, then you see the school where the person completed, their profession, the person mastered, and the graduation as well as the seal. Do you have any questions about this document? This document does not provide any academic value. Can I continue? Okay. The diploma of the qualified worker, it's the second stage of the vocational education. And on the basis of this diploma, we can see whether the person has completed secondary education and vocational education, or whether the person completed only part of the vocational education. So we do the evaluation of these credentials all the time, and we do check the content of the transcript quite carefully. For instance, this is what you can see. When we do the evaluation of these documents, we check, we have several issues to work on. For instance, the duration of the program, whether this document contains high school study courses, or whether we can arrive at the equivalence of the high school diploma. We look at the course workload, we look at the purpose of education, where the person can go with this credential, and we see if the person has also simultaneous access to employment. Diploma Qualified Worker 1999 format. An interesting thing about this document is that besides the profession, we clearly see the wording of secondary education. So the person who has the Diploma of Qualified Worker is eligible to continue education in tertiary education because he has completed secondary education in Ukraine, along with the profession. This is how the transcript looks like. If you can read Ukrainian, handwritten Ukrainian, you can see some courses over here. So those are general education courses such as biology, chemistry, astronomy, geometry, and so on and so forth. So even if you didn't see the diploma, you would look at the transcript and you will be able to see both the vocational courses and also the general education courses. The diploma of the junior specialist. So this is the plastic format. We call them plastic because they were issued in the plastic format. We can verify these documents. Again, the format kind of looks like the same as the format of the secondary credentials, but the color is different, and of course the terminology is different. As we know, this document will be phased out in Ukraine in 2019. So this is how the diploma supplement looks like. When we do the evaluation, we'll look at the admission. So if you remember the certificates I covered in the beginning of the session, certificate of basic secondary education, which is grade 9, or a certificate of complete secondary education. So this is the place for these documents to be listed. So we know whether admission is grade 9 or admission is grade 11, complete secondary education. We also look at the duration of study, the practical work. Then sometimes they spell out what rights the person receives, the duration of the program, the years when the person was enrolled. This is the back of the transcript. Sometimes you can see diploma thesis, state examinations, and the profession, which is the same as on the diploma. And this is if you flip the document over, you will see the diploma supplement, all the coursework listed in here. You see that there is no breakdown by semesters or by years, so it's difficult to figure out which courses were taken when. But if you have access to the website, to the school's website, they usually provide study plans, and you can definitely check whether there are some courses of general education. For instance, here it's history, world history, history of Ukraine. So these could be high school courses for sure. Practical training, and there are course paper. This is the new format of the diploma of the junior specialist. It's paper, it's not plastic. However, you can still verify it online in InfoResource. Again, all the information about the graduation date, the name of the school, the profession, qualification, the director's signature, when the person completed. And please note the coat of arms. The transcript diploma supplement looks the same. So you have to be sure that the serial numbers in here match the serial numbers on the diploma. We look at the previous document in education, duration of study, and all the other information. This is the diploma supplement when you flip it over. Again, it's very consolidated. You don't know what courses were taken during the first year, the second year, the third year, because they're all together. So it can be tricky to find out what portion of this transcript is secondary level and which one is undergraduate. This is the screenshot of the website of the professional education school. It's a college, so you can see that they train qualified workers on the basis of grade 9, qualified workers on the basis of grade 11, and the junior specialist. So that's an interesting information if you're curious. Higher education. As of 2014, higher education has undergone considerable overhaul in Ukraine. And I mean, you can see the screenshot of the higher education structure as of 2018, and we already see the junior bachelor. It hasn't been implemented, but oh, hello, people. The junior bachelor, master, doctor of philosophy, which is new, doctor of science, which used to exist. So we see 10 levels. It's interesting that last year there were 9 levels, qualification framework levels. This year there are 10 levels. So very, very brief overview, 3 levels, bachelor, master, and the 3rd education research level. This is an interesting chart. So as of 1991, 2014, we have seen, and we still will see, junior specialist, bachelor, specialist, master candidate of sciences, doctor of sciences. Now, on the basis of the law on higher education implemented in 2014, we see huge changes in educational structure of Ukraine. Junior specialist will now be junior bachelor. Bachelor will still be bachelor. Specialist will be phased out, will become master. Master is still master. Candidate of sciences will be phased out, will be called doctor of philosophy, and doctor of science remains doctor of science. So this is the chart which introduces you to the major degree correlation issues. This is an interesting information about current educational legislation in Ukraine. We follow legislation. So the most current one is the law on higher education 2014, and the law on education, which involves secondary education and vocational education 2017. So the changes, as I mentioned, happened in junior specialist, specialist candidate of sciences degrees in terms of the higher education, and there will be still a lot of changes in secondary education and vocational education. These laws, if you're curious in reading legislation in English, they are available online. Or if you cannot find them, I will be more than happy to provide the links. Documentation types. So here are the documents we work with typically. So we usually work with a diploma. sometimes you receive diplomas with honors. Diplomas usually comes with diploma supplements. If you receive only the diploma supplement without the diploma, this is an incomplete set of documents. There should always be a diploma and a diploma supplement, because there is a wording on the diploma supplement that the diploma supplement is not valid without the diploma. So it refers to the levels of junior specialist, bachelor, master, I think other credentials. Academic record for incomplete education, archival record for incomplete education, extract from the examination book. As I mentioned, diploma supplement is not valid without the diploma. Unofficial documents, we will not work with these documents, we will not accept them. We will ask the applicant to go back and provide the requested documents. So notarized copies, we do not accept notarized copies. Especially if the photocopy is notarized by a local notary. So this is not acceptable. I know in Ukraine the notarized copy is considered a legal document, not in the US. However, if you have the notarization by the Ministry of Education, please note, not the Ministry of Justice, but Ministry of Education, we will accept the notarized copy only in this exceptional case. Otherwise, no. Study book, no, we do not accept study books, because this is an internal university document which is used only during the winter and summer sessions. That's it. It's not supposed to be used outside for any outside purposes. Sometimes we receive documents, we receive complaints from people who say, you know, I cannot provide the document because my student doesn't keep it. Please note that the archival records are kept for over 50 years in Ukraine. However, there is an exception in the situation of the Eastern Ukraine. So that's a completely different story. But if you have students, or if you are students from mainland Ukraine, you will definitely be able to receive, to get in touch with the school and receive the documents. This is the database, well, this is the screenshot of the Ministry of Education. As an evaluation agency, we know about every single Ministry of Education in the world, and Ukraine is not an exception. So if you have some schools and you don't know if the school is recognized, we will go to this one, which is the Institutions of Higher Education, or we will go to this tab and we will be able to check the documents. If you're a student, or if you have completed a school and you are not sure whether your school is recognized, you can go into the website of the school and check. So if the school is there, your school is definitely recognized. This is a very, very busy screenshot. However, I wanted to show you that you can check the institutions of higher education and institutions of professional education in Ukraine by city, by specific city. Then you see all these screenshots. If we have time and if you have a desire, I might go live and show you how it works. So that's how you can search for the school. You can also look for Ukrainian institutions in the ENIC Ukraine website. Absolutely fantastic website. We practically live there. So there's all information about the education system, about the document samples, about regulatory framework, list of institutions, so on. They also provide apostille services. By apostilles, I mean apostilles done by the Ministry of Education. Diploma formats, since I wasn't able to provide all the diploma formats, and I just spoke a little bit on the current diploma formats, you can go into the website of the ENIC Ukraine, and all the formats of diplomas are available as of 1961. Diplomas and diploma supplements. So this is how the bachelor diploma looks like as of 2014. It's still plastic, but here you can see that it's bilingual and it has the QR code. So if you have a phone, you can definitely check it and you will be able to see that your documents are valid, authentic, genuine. We were able to find some fraudulent documents on the basis of just this, the QR code. Somebody stole somebody else's identity. Okay, so this is how the diploma supplement looks like. It's not plastic. It's issued in the paper format. Unfortunately, for the first pilot years since 2015, these documents do not have any security features, which is not very pleasant for the students, and it's difficult for us to work since we cannot track down security features. The document is also verifiable. This is the European Diploma Supplement. It became an integral part of the documentation set in Ukraine, so people can now receive the diploma and the diploma supplement in the European format. The wonderful thing is that this document is bilingual, so all the information is available in here about the duration of studies. All the courses are listed both in Ukrainian and in English. You can see ECTS credits, you can see national grades, you can see ECTS grades. I'd like to point the this fact to you. The duration of studies here is listed as 4 years, part-time, 180 ECTS credits. So this is, I wouldn't say that it's a red flag, but this is definitely an issue because it is not a 4-year full-time program. So if we determine that the program is not 4 years, but for instance, 3 years, we can do it by either looking at the duration of the program. 3 years part-time, this is definitely 4 years part-time, this is definitely 3 years, or 180 CTS credits if you divide in half, that's how we do it. It's 90 converted credits in the US. This is definitely a 3-year program, which will not be equivalent to the 4-year bachelor degree program in the US. So please keep this in mind. If you are currently enrolled in the 3-year bachelor program in Ukraine, this can be an issue when you try to enter a university in the US. This is the new format of the Diploma of Master, very fancy, very beautiful, bilingual, and again, you can verify it. Incomplete education. So I already mentioned that incomplete education in Ukraine is based, so the documents for incomplete education are called academic record, archival record, or extract from test examination records. If you're currently enrolled, you are not eligible to receive an academic record. You will have to get in touch with the archival department or the educational department of your university and request the extract from test examination records, which should be prepared by the dean's office of the relevant faculty. Here is the information what the academic record contains. So this is for you to study at your leisure time. This is how the academic record looks like. So we look at the Ministry of Education, the school, enrollment dates, the school, faculty, mode of study, full-time, part-time, all the signatures are here, the reasons for exmatriculation. The date of issue can differ from the enrollment date, of course. I like this document because it provides the breakdown by semesters and years, so it's easy for us to determine which courses were lower level and which courses were upper level. This is the new format of the academic record. Looks quite modern in if you compare to the previous one. Also provides the breakdown, and it also provides the ECTS credits, grades, national grading scale. So it's easy to work with a document like this. So it's one of the formats of the incomplete documentation from Ukraine. Canon of Sciences. This is still an older document, older format document, although I think it's 2014. Now it will be called PhD, Doctor of Philosophy. And of course, we can verify the thesis dissertation in the database of the National Library of Ukraine. The grading scales, there are different various, like there is a huge array of grading scales in Ukraine. So sometimes the keynotes are listed on the document. Sometimes they are not, so it may be difficult because I've seen the grading scale not only of 100, but out of 200. So how do you determine which grade is excellent, good, satisfactory, so on and so forth? Fortunately, Ukrainian universities provide excellent websites in Ukrainian, sometimes in English, and you can find the study plans and you can find the grading scales. When you work with the credentials that have the grading scale, not like 1 through 5 or 1 through 12. Okay. Quality assurance. Why I listed quality assurance here? There used to be 4 levels of accreditation of institutions in Ukraine. However, based on the law of higher education, after September 2014, there appeared a new agency, National Agency on Quality Assurance in Higher Education, and it's difficult for us and for you to understand, but it looks like the institutional accreditation will be phased out. So there will be programmatic and programmatic accreditation and licensing. So this is the main thing to be aware of. If you do not see the accreditation, and you will not see the accreditation level of the institutions on the Ministry of Education, it just doesn't exist anymore. So this could be an issue. It can be very tricky. And some quality assurance resources for you to be aware of. Of course, we check the first institution we check, it's the Ministry of Education of Ukraine. Higher Attestation Committee was phased out. ENIC Ukraine, we practically live here. Info Resources, exceptionally wonderful website. We check all the documents that come to us. And these agencies that were created recently, again, sometimes they change the format, sometimes they change the websites. The main sites for visiting when you have documents, it's Ministry of Education, ENIC Ukraine, and InfoResource. Situation in Eastern Ukraine. Well, this is really difficult. However, as the years go on, we are able to figure out at least how to work with the credentials. So if you look at the map, you will see the colors blue and yellow. So it means that these territories are under Ukraine. We look at this map from the point of view of credentials only. So we're not talking about political situation, whatever. So if we know that the school is from the blue area or from the yellow area, of course it's a recognized school. If there are any schools, documents from the schools in here in this beige area, they're not recognized. This is an overview how many schools relocated from the temporary occupied territories into the mainland Ukraine. And if you receive documents from the schools located on the temporarily occupied territories, license and accreditation of universities, they do not exist anymore over there. They are not functioning in conjunction with the Ministry of Education of Ukraine. So nothing is recognized there, and you know about this definitely. Here is the graphical map. You can see how the institutions moved from the eastern Ukraine and Crimea. So this is something interesting for you to consider. We have compiled the list of institutions that are located. So for instance, we will have the documents from Donetsk National University. We will have to find out where the school is located if we have questions about the format of documents, if we have questions about any issues, forensics, and so on and so forth. So these are the schools, relocated institutions, and here is the new location where the school relocated to. Twin institutions, this is an interesting topic. Actually, there are twin institutions in both the territory under Ukraine and temporarily occupied territory. So the main difference is in the language. So for instance, Lugansk State Medical University, you see that it's also in Ukrainian. If you look over here, Lugansk State Medical University named after Luka, it's in Russian. So if the document and if the credential and if the institution is in the Russian language, definitely there are questions. The school may not be recognized, but if it's in Ukrainian, it's recognized. Some documents from the Crimea and from Donetsk. So this is definitely not recognized by Ukrainian Ministry of Education, issued in 2014. So you see that this document is of complete Russian format, Russian Ministry of Education, and so on. This is from Donetsk, bilingual. There's no Ministry of Education of Ukraine here anywhere. So definitely the school is not recognized. There are two Donetsk institutions. One is located in Vinnytsia. It actually moved from Donetsk to Vinnytsia. So it's recognized by the Ministry of Education. If you go to the website, you will see the certificate of accreditation. The Donetsk National University is still located in Donetsk, is not recognized. And of course, we have received a document recently from Donetsk National University. So look at this document. Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine. The name of the institution, Donetsk National University. Then you see the dates, 2013, 2015. So we know that after 2014, the documents are not recognized issued by the Donetsk National University. I contacted the school responded immediately, and the school that responded to me was definitely the school from Vinnytsia. So here they provided the response, what happened. They mentioned that the archives and the seals were captured by armed individuals. And the good thing for the student, so although the student studied in Donetsk, the students' educational information was stored in the Unified State Electronic Database on Education, or YEDEBO. And the person had to get in touch with the Donetsk National University in Vinnytsia, which she did. So we're supposed to receive the documents quite soon. So we will work with the documents because they will be reissued by Donetsk National University located in Vinnytsia. This is an interesting document. It doesn't look like any document you have seen so far in my presentation. The document is definitely falsified. You can even look at this. The logo looks like it was prepared by a 5-year-old kid. So everything is off, the format is off, the colors are off, and the school on top of that either didn't exist or had some issues with accreditation. So it was very difficult to get in touch with the school, but we got in touch with the Ministry of Education and they responded to us. This is an interesting case. So you see the Certificate of Complete Secondary Education issued 2017 in Slovyansk. Since I haven't been in Ukraine for a very long time, I noticed that Slovyansk is located in Donetsk Oblast, Donetsk region. So I got in touch. I went into the website of the map. So I looked at the blue and yellow, if you remember that map I talked about. Actually, this document is issued on the territory under Ukraine. And I also got in touch with the Ministry of Education. So I asked them if the documents issued in Slovyansk will be recognized. Somebody told me yes. But when I went into the website of the registration documents on education, I wasn't able to find it. So you see here, the document is not found. However, the same person submitted the Certificate of Basic Education, and it is in the database. So we'll possibly have to get in touch with the school. If you are from Eastern Ukraine or from the Crimea and you have documents issued after 2014-15 and you are having issues studying in Ukraine, or you would like to go to a foreign country or whatever, the website of Ukraine provides very detailed information for students, for citizens of these areas, what to do and how to work with the credentials. This is the information for the students from Eastern Ukraine and Crimea, so you can follow all the steps. And again, the Ministry of Education is the first place for you to go and seek assistance. Some challenges. So if you do not have any documents, if you do not have archives, what you can do. So this information is basically for you. I'm not going very deep into detail because I'm short of time. However, if the documents are in the electronic database, if the documents are in the Ministry of Education, you may still restore your documents. You may continue your life on the basis of the credentials that were issued to you before the events happened in 2013-14. Establishing authenticity. This is my favorite topic, but we don't have much time to talk about it. In Ukraine, there functioned, or there used to be, or there run 3 databases: Освіта, InfoResource, INIC Ukraine. Освіта doesn't work anymore. However, we actively use InfoResource. And if you have apostilles, you can check apostilles of the Ministry of Education through INIC Ukraine. So all the information is here. This is how the unified electronic database functions. You can check documents on higher education, or you can check documents on secondary education. So just follow all the steps and you will be able to see the verification results. And this is how the verification results look like. So, okay, which documents can be verified or cannot be verified. Practically all plastic diplomas issued as of 1997 till 2014. I'm sorry, 1998, that was the first date. They can be verified. Paper documents cannot be verified. Documents issued by the military institutions cannot be verified, so on and so forth. Again, if you have any questions, I will be more than very happy to help you with that. And you can also verify apostilles in here after 2013. Some resources that we use all the time. And that's about it. Thank you so much for your attention. Do you have any questions?
Should we maybe go on with the other speakers, if that feels fine, and get questions and then?
Sure, absolutely.
Give everybody a broader perspective on which questions haven't been answered yet.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Hi, I'm supposed to be after Tatiana to present. Hello there, greetings from sunny Florida. Let me share my screen. Do you, hold on. Do you guys see my screen? Okay.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Hi, my name is Dorina Villa. I am an international credential evaluator from USF, the University of South Florida. I am honored to present today with you about preparing transcript and academic documents from Ukraine for undergraduate and graduate admission to a US university. In today's agenda, we will review what academic secondary level documents are needed for undergraduate applicants and what post-secondary level academic documents are needed for graduate applicants for admissions to a US university. We will not only review completed ending academic credential samples, but we also reviewing documents that are needed if students are applying early. Please note that the following is a general guideline from the perspective of the USF and the University of South Florida. In the next slides, we will review what is needed for undergraduate applicants. If you are applying before completion of secondary level studies, then we are looking for Ukrainian language internal secondary level transcripts, including 10th and first semester of 11th grade, along with an English translations. Please note that if admitted then at a later time, your attested supplement to the attestat and the attestat along with the English translation may be asked for. The reason for this is to prove that you have completed secondary education. This is an example of the in-progress Ukrainian language internal secondary level transcript. Here shows the 10th grade and first semester of 11th grade, and on the right we have the English language translation. If you have completed your secondary level education, then we are looking for the attestat, the attested supplement to the attestat and the attestat, the certificate of completed secondary education along with the English translation. Here is the example of the attested supplement to the attestat, and on the right is the English language of the supplement to the attestat. And the next example shows the attestat along with the English translation. And we have mentioned that the documents are attested. So, and this is what they normally look like. They are bound with string and holding appropriate stamps and seals. In the next slides, we will review what is needed for the graduate applicants. And if you have not yet completed your post-secondary studies and you are applying early, then we are looking for a Ukrainian language in progress university transcript along with an English translation. Transcript may reflect 6 semesters or more, and please note that if admitted, then after you will be asked for diploma supplement and the degree. And the reason for this is to prove that you have completed post-secondary level studies. This example will show an in-progress post-secondary document in Ukrainian language along with the English translation. Please note that the image reflects less pages than normal documents look like, but at the time you will need to provide a full documentation. And if you have completed the post-secondary level, we are looking for your official diploma supplement and the diploma. Documents sometimes are issued in dual language, in Ukrainian and English. And the next example is the diploma supplement, which also Tatiana mentioned before, and the document is issued in dual language. And as I said also in the other document for the transcript, this diploma in the image shows less documents that reflects. And finally, this is an example of the diploma itself, and as well is it issued in dual language. We hope that this presentation has helped how to understand and to prepare your Ukraine academic documents for admission to a US university. I thank you, and please let me know if there are any questions. I guess the next representative can start. I'm trying to exit the share, but I... Okay. Thank you.
Hey guys, we don't seem to be able to hear you, so could you maybe double check your mic?
Okay, there we go. Is this working now?
Amazing, thank you.
I'm sorry, something got switched in my audio settings. I apologize. Okay, so can you see my PowerPoint slides?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so we just wanted to talk just about general admission standards. All universities in the United States are going to have different standards. So check with each university to make sure that you're meeting what they're asking for. Some of them will ask for standardized test scores, some of them won't. Some of them might require English proficiency tests, but most of them will be looking at general academic preparedness and will have their own set of requirements that you'll need to meet. Same with the transcripts. Some institutions may just require English translations, whereas others may require original language documents. And then, as always, secondary school completion. The document that's necessary could vary as well. So for Indiana University, the things that we're going to look for when we're reviewing your file, and we do review each student individually on a case-by-case basis. So we're going to take a look at your test scores, and you do have to show demonstration of English proficiency, whether that's through TOEFL or IELTS. And then the general academic preparedness, we take into account the education structure when we're looking at your documents. We understand that some schools do specialize in maybe a science or a humanities related areas of study. So we take that into account when we're reviewing your transcripts. So speaking on the transcripts, we want to see the original language transcripts issued by your school. And at Indiana University, we require 3 years of coursework when we're reviewing your transcript. Now we know that upper secondary is only 2 years. So if you do apply, we would ask you for your lower secondary certificate so that we can evaluate that as well. And then we want the English language translation. This is, we want a line-by-line translation and not an interpretation. So if the course is, I do not speak Ukrainian, so I'm going to just come down here and point them. Hopefully you know what I'm saying. So we're looking for science and the grade is 5. And we want the translation to say science grade 5, not science grade A. So part of our job, we do in-house credential evaluation. So we'll make that determination based on the grading scales that we as an institution use. And here's just an example of the line-by-line translation. As you can see, they will match up almost exactly as they go across. So Ukrainian language, and then the grades 9, 10, and then the annual grade of 10. And then over here, Ukrainian language, semester 1, grade 9, semester 2, 10, annual 10. That's what we are looking for in the translation. And then the last thing that we're looking for, once you arrive, if you are not complete, if you haven't completed secondary school when you're applying, when you arrive, we will ask you for your secondary school completion certificate, specifically the attestat.
Okay, so to talk a little bit about graduate admissions. Oh, I'm Emily Talley, by the way. I'm a credential evaluator at Indiana University as well. And before I talk too much about this, I want to say that I work in the Office of International Services, and so Indiana University has many graduate departments and programs, and all the departments make their own admissions decisions for graduate students. So I do not, me or my office does not make the admission decision for graduate students. I just wanted to point that out because I don't have a lot to say on Indiana University graduate departments standards, except that they exist. So in general, for graduate students applying for graduate programs in the United States, you will need some sort of standardized test score, whether it's the GRE or GMAT or LSAC or MCAT. And this depends on the type of graduate program you're pursuing. So the GRE is a more general test. The GMAT is for those pursuing the business MBA. The LSAC is for law students, etc. You will also most likely need to demonstrate English proficiency. This could be through the TOEFL, a test like the TOEFL or IELTS. It could be through completing a degree in an English-speaking country. It just depends on your school, the school you're applying to, and the program. Again, general academic preparedness. Most graduate programs will require that you complete a bachelor's degree. In the US, this is a 4-year degree. Depending on the program, some may require you to complete a master's degree, which might be between 1 and 3 years, probably. And you will be required to submit some type of academic transcripts, and different institutions will have different requirements. So at IU, again, you will most likely be required to take a standardized test. Depending on the program, the test may vary. You will be required to demonstrate English proficiency, but the requirement will vary. You will most likely be required to have completed a bachelor's degree, which again, in the US, is composed of 4 years of undergraduate coursework. Some programs will require a master's degree, and some programs may admit off a 3-year bachelor's degree, but this is more an exception. In general, programs are looking for a 4-year undergraduate degree or a combination of a 3-year bachelor's plus at least 1 year of a master's degree. Okay. As far as the documentations that we will look for, we will want a transcript or diploma supplement and degree certificate. I have not seen a whole lot of Ukrainian documents, but what I have seen post 2014 have been diploma supplements and degree certificates. The diploma supplements are a wonderful thing that I love. We will, oh, sorry. Oh. Okay. So we will ask for the original language documents issued and stamped or signed by the institution. And we will also ask for an English language translation, which, as Andrew was talking about, needs to be literal and line by line. Indiana University does not require the English translation to come from the institution. It can be done by any source, but it does need to be literal and line by line. But as you've seen, most of the diploma supplements and degree certificates that are issued in the Ukraine now are in both languages, in Ukrainian and English, so that is good for everyone. So this is just a list of things that I find helpful to be listed on academic records. Most of this is already included on the Ukrainian diploma supplement, so you probably don't need to worry about it too much because it's already there. But believe it or not, some documents do not include all of this information, even the name of the institution. But so we like to see the name of the institution, the full name of the student, date of birth, the name of the degree, the statement confirming degree conferral and date of conferral, the entry requirements to the program, what further education access this program leads to, the length of the program, grades and an explanation of the grades, course titles. And on the right side, I have credits and an explanation. Most U.S. post-secondary admissions offices are familiar with ECTS credits, so the diploma supplement usually lists those, so you are good to go there. And again, we want the original language document in English translation. At the bottom, I have bolded here. Some schools only issue English documents. For Indiana University, if we receive an English-only document from a Ukraine institution, we will also want an official statement from that institution stating that they do not issue documents in original language. So our institution really wants Ukrainian and an English translation. And a couple more notes. Like I had said, most diploma supplements or documents I've seen from 2014 and after, which is mostly what I have seen, include all the information that I listed. Indiana University requires both the diploma or degree certificate and transcript or diploma supplement. I know some institutions only require the diploma supplement, but that is not the case with Indiana University. And then I just have a couple examples of academic records, but you have seen several so far. This is a bachelor's diploma or degree certificate from 2016. As you can see, it is in both languages. And this is a very bad copy of a diploma supplement, but I just wanted to point out that it includes the information we want, the student's name and date of birth, the degree they studied, the institution they were attending, and this is further down on the document, lists the length of program and all that information we need. So that concludes our portion. I hope it was useful.
Yes, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. And I know we've got a question that came into the Q&A box that Tatiana wanted to address. Is that right?
Okay. So the question is as follows. Anastasia wrote to me, my problem is that I cannot convert and understand my level of education to US system of education. In 9th grade, I changed the school and entered to Nikolaev Medical College. basic medical college, which is like technical school in Ukraine, and I have certificate of completion of school, and I have a diploma of a junior specialist. In this case, it means that I have a diploma of high school diploma, 11th grade of high school, and diploma of junior specialist. This is a question. Or completion of school means completion of general secondary education. I do not really understand the difference between general secondary education and high school. Please advise me with that. Thank you very much. Well, Anastasia, thank you for the question. We work with the credentials like this all the time. First of all, you have completed 9 grades, which is completion of grade 9 in the US. Then you went into the college on the basis of grade 9. I don't know how long you studied, but looks like you do have the certificate of complete secondary education, which will be equivalent to a high school diploma in the US. So both certificates of basic education and certificate of complete general education, these are benchmark credentials. The first one is equivalent to grade 9. The second is equivalent to high school diploma. Now, if your junior specialist diploma program was 3 years after grade 9, you would have the equivalence of a high school diploma and 1 year undergraduate. If your program were 4 years, you would have the equivalence of a high school diploma and associate. Does that answer your question?
Thank you very much, Tatiana. I do think that was very elaborate, and
thank you.
Yes, we've got a confirmation that that does answer the question. I guess we can jump into the general Q&A right now and see if anybody online has questions. Please type them in, and if anybody in the audience has questions, shout them out. We do have a question in the audience, so maybe we can start there. Is that okay?
Hi, Tatiana.
Hello.
My question is how to calculate GPA in the 4.0 US system?
On the basis of what? What document do you have in mind?
I have a bachelor degree with 100 points.
That's a nice question. So do you have the grading scale from your school? Do you know the division of percentages? For instance, there should be the keynotes, there should be clarification. If, for instance, 90 through 100 is equivalent to excellent. Again, I don't know your school, I don't know anything, but you have to know the grading scale of your school. So if you know that, and if you know the division of excellent, good, satisfactory, excellent usually stands for 4 points, B or good stands for 3 points, C or satisfactory stands for 2 points, and 0 points for failure, but usually we do not see failures. Then we work with the academic hours, which we convert into credits. So for instance, if you have a bachelor's degree and it's a 4-year program and you completed, for instance, 7,000 or 8,000 academic hours, we will not show all those 7,000 academic hours on our report, but we will convert them to 120 US credits, so 30 US converted credits per year. So credits affect the grades, so that's how roughly the GPA is calculated. Or to put it even simpler, if you have all the excellent grades, you will have 4 point. Yes. Did I respond to your question? If you have B's or C's, they will lower your GPA. No. So hopefully you have all A's.
Maybe you have a clear table where I can see that B is 3.5, yeah, to evaluate from B to 4.0.
Yes, yeah, they do affect. So if you have B's and C's, they will affect. So you could have 3.5, you could have 2. Again, I haven't seen your documents. But yes, if you have quite a number of lower grades than A, they will definitely affect. I've seen GPAs as low as 0.50. So you can imagine how the students studied. But in terms of Ukrainian credentials, failures are not reported, so you're fine. If you have failures, then definitely the GPA would be very low. Yes, thank you so much for the question.
We've got a couple of more questions that came into the Q&A box, so maybe you could look through them and see who will be willing to answer them. Meanwhile, just wanted to add to what you have been discussing. From what I remember, there is a free GPA calculator. It's not super accurate, but there is a free GPA calculator on the website of WES, the evaluation agency, the World Education Services guys. They have a GPA calculator that you could use in order to kind of estimate for, you know, the admission kind of purposes, to know your competitiveness, how your GPA could potentially convert from Ukrainian to American system before you go through the official credential evaluation.
Hi, Liz. I would like to respond to Dimitri, can I?
Sure.
Yes, Dimitri has a question. He's saying, hi, I have a question about the translation of the document. Does it need to be an official translation with the signature and the seal of the translator? Thanks for the response. Usually based on the university perspective, we would like to see attested documents with native language documents and the certified English translator. The translator need to be a certified one, and the documents need to show proper signature and seals.
I was just going to jump in on this one as well. Actually, at Indiana University, we don't require official translations. But again, as I stated early on in my presentation, this is going to vary from institution to institution based on policy. So for us, we actually don't have to have official translations.
I'd like to jump into, we do not require official translations. You can do translation yourself, as long as it is literal word-for-word translation. Please do not translate satisfactory grades into excellent or good, because we do know that satisfactory is satisfactory, good is good, excellent is excellent. Sometimes the course titles are translated incorrectly. For instance, higher mathematics is translated as calculus. No, that's not that. Or economics of, or something like of Communist Party is simply translated as philosophy. So please just do your own translations word for word. We'll be very happy to work with them.
Great. And I see we've got a couple of more questions that came in. So I'm wondering, people are writing out quite long statements. So I guess maybe you, the folks from the universities could address the question. We have a student who is an English major, and she has been wondering whether English language test requirement could be waived under that condition. So you could probably speak more to that based on your institutional experiences.
So at Indiana University, this will be 100% dependent on the program you will apply for. I'm not familiar with the English department standards. Also, I'm not sure if you are intending to study as an undergraduate or graduate student.
She's a prospective graduate.
You graduate? Okay, yeah. For a graduate student, it is 100% dependent on the department. So you would need to contact the English department, and I'm not sure what they would say at Indiana University.
Dorina, did you want to add anything to that?
Depends on the program that the student is applying, and based on us, we look test scores and the country that the student studied. We do the evaluation, and I'm not sure if people that make admissions will see those test scores, and then if they have the English major, if they will accept and waive any for the program.
Yeah, I guess I can just add to that in our experience at Education USA, I don't think I have ever seen a waiver given based on the fact that English was a major for somebody throughout their undergraduate studies. It's only if the person continues to graduate program in linguistics in the United States, they are expected to take a standardized test, and
yes,
their generally the requirement is pretty high on the score, just because they really need to make sure that your language competency will allow you to be successful in your studies.
Correct.
So we've got a couple more questions. I'm not sure if any of you have decided to take them on already.
Oh, there is an interesting question from an anonymous attendee about the grading scale grades. The university has a bit different system. A is excellent, B very good, C, D. So what I can say about this, just looking at A, B, C, D, E grades, these are ECTS grades. And I did post the ECTS grading scale in my presentation. So A will be A, B will be A, C will be B, D will be C, E will be, I don't remember, either pass or failure. Yeah, something like that. So sometimes it's easier for us to determine if we see the ECTS grading scale. If we do not see the ECTS grading scale, we will look at the descriptors. So excellent, very good, they would typically stand for A. Good is B, satisfactory is C. Enough or sufficient could be D, and in some cases could be not. Again, it's a case-by-case basis. So that's our approach to the grading scale that we have received just now.
Thank you. And I think the other two can be generally, the other two questions can be generally summed up. And we could ask you to just share the overall requirements for the educational experiences to be submitted. So we have cases of people that have been enrolled in undergraduate programs and graduate programs already and still want to apply for another graduate program. So could you just refer to more towards what kind of credentials you want to see in case of people who have several types of both secondary and higher education? If I'm right, the general rule is that they have to show you all the education they have gained by far, but could you maybe jump in and give more feedback?
Yes, I can jump in. For the student who has applied for undergraduate program, they could submit their secondary documents and the in progress of undergraduate studies, which are the transcript, which the student had like 2 years of undergraduate study. And then for the other student who is applying for a master degree, they need to submit all their undergraduate and graduate documentation. We would like to see if they have completed the bachelor degree and they are in the progress of master, or they have completed the master degree.
I will just jump in and concur with Dorina. For graduate students, we ask that you submit all of your post-secondary transcripts and degree certificates or other programs you have completed. But yes, any education you have completed after post-secondary school, after secondary school, we want to see documentation from that.
For the one who was asking about it appears that they're in progress. If they were going to be coming in as, say, a transfer student, we would also at Indiana University need to see a completion of secondary school. We just need to have the document on file that shows that you completed secondary school. So we're basically just confirming that you do have access in your home country to upper level studies.
Thank you very much. Do you guys have any more questions? No. We don't seem to have any more questions in the audience so far. I'm not sure. I don't think there are any other questions that came through the chat box. I guess at this point, I want to thank you guys for the amazing presentations you did. And if there's anything you'd like to say just to wrap us up, the floor is yours.
since I was the first one who spoke, I would like to thank everybody. Thank you so very much for your attention. I don't know if my presentation will be available to you. There is my contact information, tmckenna@ec.org. Please feel free to write to me. I will respond to any questions you have regarding education, the documents, whatever you may have. So I'll be very happy to help you. And again, thank you so much, and good luck to you in your endeavors, and hope to see you soon here.
I thank you so much as well. I'm very pleased to be presenting with you. And I wish luck all the students who are applying for undergrad and graduate programs.
We just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to present a little bit about Indiana University and general academic records. We wish you the best as you apply, as you think about studying, and if Indiana University is right for you, well then we will welcome you here with open arms.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all very much for the presentation, and I think we're getting messages into the chat and the Q&A box that just send thank you once again. We are able to share the presentations as long as we have your permission to do that. So everybody who is currently online and would like to get a copy of the presentation, you can just email to the Education USA office, and we'll be happy to provide you with more content. Thank you all for making the time today, and with that said, I guess we can wrap it up. There are a lot of requests for Tatiana's email coming.
Oh, so sweet. Where can I provide it? I mean, I'm writing to everybody right now.
Would you like to just type it into the chat box?
Yes.
Just use all panelists and attendees as the recipient, and text it right there so that.
Yeah. Yes. Did you receive it? It's tmckenna@ec.org. I'll be happy to receive email from everybody.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Good luck to you. Bye-bye.